This is the Slay Girl Slay podcast, a space created to uplift, motivate, and inspire women of color to be fearless in their pursuit of their dreams, go after what they deserve, and show up as their most unapologetic, most authentic selves. This audio series was created for every woman who is on the verge of her come up, creating her own vibe, and fiercely transforming her life. So sit down with me, get your notebook, grab a pen, and let's create the life you've always dreamed of. I'm your host, Ashley Legs, and welcome to the Slay Girl Slay podcast. Hey girl, hey! Welcome back to the Slay Girl Slay podcast. Happy Monday, boo. Hope all of you are well and your week is off to an amazing start. I am coming to you today from the state of Texas. I'm here visiting my dad and my family for a few weeks. I don't get to see him very often because obviously I'm in Chicago and he's in Texas, but when I do come and visit, we try to make the most of our time together. My dad loves to cook, y'all, and I'm often very jealous of my other siblings because they get these 5-star meals like every day, and I'm at home in Chicago eating noodles with meat on top of it, okay? But since I've been here, my dad has been throwing down in the kitchen, and y'all, I am not turning nothing down but my collar. You know how you have days or weeks where you're like, man, am I doing a good job? Am I progressing? It feels like my life really isn't going anywhere. Like I'm working my butt off and I'm doing my best, but it feels like I'm not really making any moves, right? That's been me lately. I haven't been feeling very quote unquote with it these days and just kind of checking things off of my to-do list, but it's starting to feel really mundane. I wasn't feeling very creative, and it started feeling like I was swimming to survive and not swimming to thrive, you know? So I packed a bag and came to visit my dad for a few weeks. And while being nosy in his living room, I came across an old photo of myself. It was a picture of me. I was 12 at the time, standing in our old driveway. I was rocking a Tommy Hilfiger tank top, some jeans, and some K-Swiss. Judge your auntie. I was half smiling, standing awkwardly, waiting for the photo to be taken. And a lot of the photos of myself that I saw at this age looked exactly like this one. So let me take you back really quick. 12-year-old me was shy, a little timid. I played in the band, and the only thing I cared about was making first chair and going to band camp. I had also started cheerleading, but was still very much introverted. B2K was my world, and becoming Lil Fizz's wife was the only goal that I had. I stuck to the same group of friends and secretly loved The Sims and would spend any free moment I had playing video games. I don't know if any of you mamas out there have a 12-year-old, but God bless you if you do. My mom and I were not peaches and rainbows and did not get along at that age. I clung to my dad and wanted to do things that only my dad did. I hated wearing purses, dresses, or makeup, and I would cry if I had to wear my hair down because twisties with butterfly clips up into a ponytail, that was the vibe back then. But looking back, I remember thinking about the life ahead of me and not really knowing what was going to happen or how my life was going to unfold. I just wanted to be great. I wanted to be successful. I wanted a big life. I wanted to be this woman who was a boss and a rule breaker and didn't care what other people thought. I wanted life to make sense. I wanted to have a family. Y'all, I wanted to marry Fizz. But looking back, I see that all the things that I worried about back then, all the things that hurt me back then, all the things that I never thought I would get through back then, I did. And if I could just take a trip back to 2002 and sit across from that shy, awkward 12-year-old Ashley, I would tell her, that no matter how lost, nervous, or afraid she may be feeling, that everything will be okay. You see, sis, sometimes I think we get caught up in the routine of our everyday lives and our responsibilities and the challenges that we're facing and the never-ending to-do list that we have, that we can't see just how well we're actually doing. Even in the midst of our troubles, even in the midst of life happening to and around us, that we're doing much better than we think we are. And I know you're like, Ash, I still haven't become this yet, right? Like I still haven't achieved this goal. I still haven't seen this part of my life yet. I still haven't become the best version of who I am. And I'm striving to be this actor, this author, this owner, or whoever. And I just want to remind you that while, yes, maybe you haven't checked that box yet, take a minute today, take a minute this week, and take a trip down your memory lane and see all the boxes that you have checked. Remember 12-year-old you, what she looked like, who her friends were, what she struggled with. The thing is, a lot of you probably had a real big dose of life happen to you at 12. 12 for me was the first time seeing the dark, ugly parts of life, the parts of life that you can't fix or change, the parts of life that don't get better because you listen to a B2K song. And although when we're young, our minds aren't all the way developed and we're still viewing life from the lens of a child, but the things we faced were real. And the challenges we got through were real. And the things that happened to us were real. And all I'm asking you today, wherever you are and however you're feeling, good or bad, to remember her. Remember the things she worried about. Remember the things she cared deeply about. Remember the things that she dreamed of. And then go look at yourself in a mirror and look at where you got her today. In the midst of just trying to get to the next level, trying to change and grow, trying to become, trying to elevate, be the best, be successful, sometimes you have to step out of what you're doing and look at truly just how far you've come. I find it hard to appreciate my quote unquote now moments because I get so focused on the future. I get so focused on what's next. And because I'm always striving for what's in front of me, my right now sometimes feels like it sucks. My right now feels like I'm not good enough. My right now may feel like I'm not smart enough to reach this place that I need to reach, right? My right now may feel like I don't have the resources I need to finish this project. My right now looks like I don't know the right people, have the right job, saying the right things to get me to where I want to go. But what if you just stepped outside of your right now, took your mind off of what's happening right now, and remembered your yesterday? Now, not in a literal sense, but remembered the girl or boy you were at 12, when you turned 18, when you turned 21, and you recognize that you did that, you know? Like, it may not look exactly the way that you wanted to right now, but looking back on where you came from, looking back on who you used to be to who you are today, sis, you did that. You did that and then some. And now a word from today's sponsor, BetterHelp. You know that feeling when you start to feel helpless, defeated, everybody's getting on your nerves, and you're tired and just completely over it? That's called burnout, and we have all been there. When I experience feelings of burnout, I get frustrated easily, I'm exhausted mentally and physically, and just lack all motivation to do anything. I made the decision to see a therapist over a year ago, and it is still one of the best decisions I've ever made. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist so that you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Slay Girl Slay listeners get 10% off your first month by using the code SLAY. To get your discount, go to BetterHelp, HELP.com/slay for 10% off your first month and get matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. It's like when you work out, right? And you're trying to be snatched and healthy and you start eating right and going to the gym. You don't see the progress right away when you go back home from the gym, right? I mean, I'll eat a little salad and then wake up in the morning like, did I lose weight today? But it don't work like that. And I wish it could happen that fast, but most times it takes a while. It takes a minute to see the progress that you've made. Maybe your body starts feeling better and you notice some changes, but true change, true progress isn't seen right away until much, much later, after you've been consistent, after you've kept making those deposits, kept throwing it up against the wall, and then you look in the mirror months later, years later even, and you say, wow, I did that. Same rules apply with your life as a whole, sis. You're killing it right now, even if you don't think so. You're doing a good job, even if it doesn't feel like it. You're still better, smarter, and wiser than who you were last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and then some. And if you have nothing to celebrate today, celebrate that. Celebrate the fact that you've checked off so many boxes to get to where you are today. You've become a version of yourself that you've once dreamt of, that you've once prayed for. You didn't come from a lot of money, but now you want for nothing. You didn't have a lot of confidence, but can't nobody tell you nothing now. Maybe people looked down on you where you came from, didn't believe you, made you feel like your life was worth nothing, but here you are, still standing, still killing it, even on your worst day. Maybe back then they counted you out. Now they're looking at you sideways, wishing that they would have reconsidered. Maybe you didn't have the parents, the family that you wanted, but now you get to be the parent and the family to your kids that you needed. And sis, if that is not worth the celebration today, if that is not worth feeling proud today, and I mean real proud, feeling good today, then I don't know what is. When I first started getting super ambitious about my dreams and my future, I used to write letters to my future self. I've talked about it on the podcast before and encourage you guys to go and write a letter to your future self. And it really just set the tone for my journey to accomplishing whatever was next for me. Writing a letter to my future self really helped me stay focused to get to where I am today. But seeing this old photo of myself from 20 years ago prompted me to write a letter to my 12-year-old self. Because while yes, I still want to be successful, I want to get to the next level and be my best in the future, it was my past that I needed to be reminded of. I needed to walk back down memory lane and remind myself that, Ashley, you did that, you know? I needed to remind myself that while I'm chasing this dream of mine, that it took a hell of a lot of courage and charisma and strength and troubles and trials and tribulations to get to this moment that I'm sitting in today. And on the days where I feel like giving up, and on the days where I'm over it, and on the days where I'm done with everything and everybody, that is what needs to be celebrated. So that's what I did. And I'm going to read you a small part of my letter, not the whole thing because it's giving embarrassing. But take some time today, this week. It can be in your journal. I did mine in the notes section on my phone really late one night when I couldn't sleep. And I wrote a letter to 12-year-old Ashley, and I talked to her as if she was laying in bed right next to me. And I told her, Ashley, listen, you just turned 12 and you are about to have the ride of your life. Your tomboy phase will soon end and you'll be into purses, dresses, and listen, there will even be a day where we don't leave the house without lashes on. B2K breaks up and the world will feel like it's gonna end. Also, Fizz is the husband you never needed, sis. Trust me on this one. You'll be sad for a little minute, but then you'll find your love for Beyonce, and she will never let you down. Things are gonna happen to you over the next 20 years, and I'm writing you to let you know that you'll be just fine. You graduate, you end up getting into college, you have a huge crush on a boy that's in a band, and I wish I could tell you to stay away, but girl, you don't. Your parents go through a nasty divorce. Your mom loses the house, and you end up moving in with your aunt and sleeping on her couch. But it's actually not that bad. Some of your best memories will come from living there. But that'll be the first time you see how ugly and dark life can get. And it certainly won't be the last. You then go through a period of being super self-conscious. You don't feel very beautiful, even though you are, and you just want people to like you. You don't talk much in front of people that you don't know. You stop sharing your opinion because you don't think you're good enough or smart enough, and you try to keep to yourself as much as you can. You often think that things won't ever change or get better. You want to live a big life, and you just don't know if you ever will. But girl, you do. It certainly doesn't look like this now, but in about 20 years or so, after getting your first taste of having a big girl job and a decent paycheck, you'll want more. You'll wake up one day and see that you were meant for more than just trying to fit in with your coworkers. That there are other women out there around the world that sometimes feel the exact same way that you do. And so one day, you'll go home and you'll buy a microphone off this website called Amazon, and you'll start a podcast. It's almost like having a radio show, but with no music. Trust me, you'll be into it. The voice that you were so afraid to use all those years ends up reaching hundreds of thousands of people every week. You start your own company. Some really cool things happen. But the best thing, you end up helping change a bunch of people's lives, while in the process, you also end up changing your own. You become the woman you used to dream about when you slept on that couch all those years. A woman doing her own thing on her own terms, not afraid to live her life for herself. And she gets to inspire women and men all around the world to do the same. Now, I'm not saying life is perfect now. It's not. You will learn that with becoming who you want to be has its own set of challenges and experiences that you are still trying to understand. But Ash, I've got you. I've got you on your good days and on your bad days. I'm in your corner when no one else is there. You've got me, and I will not let you down. I'm writing you today to remind you of just how far you've come, and that anytime you think you're doing a bad job, like you're not good enough, like you're not making progress, or that your life will never change, pull out this letter and remind yourself of just who you are and all that you will one day become. That's it for today's podcast, boo. If you love the Slay Girl Slay podcast, be sure to give us a rating and your feedback at the end of this episode. We'd love to hear from you. Be sure to learn more about our Girl Gang and the Slay Girl Slay Book Club in the links provided in the description. Follow us on social media at Slay Girl Slay on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And come visit us on our website at www.slaygirlslay.com. I can't wait for our next girl chat, so please believe we will chat soon, boo. Peace.